In this video, we'll be talking about natal Scorpio moon in the first house and what this placement means for you when you have it in your birth chart. With that being said, when you have the moon in the first house of identity and perception and of your actions, this shows me that you are somebody that is self-reliant, because the moon shows our needs and also our form of security. And when it is in the first house, this is somebody who relies on their own actions for security. And also when the moon is in the first house, it's in the 10th house from its own house, which is the 4th house. And the 10th house is about success, self-reliance, ambitions, and it's also about authority. So generally speaking, people with the moon in the first house have this emotional need to be in charge of themselves, because they have this need to do things in their way of seeing things, or in their preference, because the first house is all about the self. Now, with that being said, when the moon is in Scorpio, this is about a need for control. Also, the moon in Scorpio shows somebody that is emotionally convinced. So when it comes to how you find security, you have this conviction in yourself and in your approach to doing things, and you have this personal need for control, especially when it comes to your own life and to your own circumstances. Now, also, with this placement being in your first house of the moon, when the moon is in your first house and having this placement in Scorpio, then this shows somebody also that identifies strongly with their emotions. And moon in Scorpio shows somebody who constantly feels a certain way, because Scorpio is a fixed water sign. Water is about emotion. Fixed signs are about a constant state of being. So they are driven by some sort of convictions or some sort of ambitions that they have. They always feel like they are driven towards a certain goal or towards a certain resource that they want to acquire. And finally, since the moon shows our upbringing, and the moon is debilitated in the sign Scorpio, and it's in your first house, this shows me that you had a complicated upbringing, or you had some sort of toxic circumstances in your family that caused you to develop a self-reliant nature. So maybe you were not provided the resources that you needed, and you learned how to fend for yourself, or you developed this need in order to control things in your own life and to not rely on other people. And that's because the moon is in your first house, as we were explaining at the beginning, and how that means self-reliance, or somebody that learned how to rely on their own actions, and that's how they feel most comfortable. And sometimes this can clash with relationships, because the first house is the opposite of the 7th house. So, furthermore, as I was saying, like, there could have been a difficult upbringing or a psychologically complex relationship to the family, where you had to stand up for yourself and learn how to take control of your own resources, or kind of manipulate your way to a position of control within a circumstance. So anyway, that basically summarizes what I wanted to talk about for this video. So I hope that this was insightful and that it resonated. If you did enjoy this and you saw yourself in any way in this video, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more content. Other than that, I appreciate you guys watching and supporting in any way that you do. And if you'd like a natal chart reading where I cover all of your placements in a personalized video, then check the link in the description to my Patreon, where I do a free natal chart reading for each of my Jupiter tier patrons. And I also have a 50% discount for my most basic tier of patrons, which is the moon tier. And I also have an email in my description if you'd like to book a reading that way. So definitely check that out if that interests you. And with that being said, I'll talk to you sometime soon in another video. Peace.